Board meetings, we please ask everyone to silence your cell phones. Thank you. Before we begin our agenda, we always invite members of our community and of our staff to give what we do our openings. Today, we will have an invocation, and that will be led by Pastor Vince Manna. He is from the First Baptist Church of St. Cloud. It will be followed by a reading of the Pledge of Allegiance by Dr. Peter Straker from Research and Evaluation Division. We will recite our mission statement, and for that we will invite Ms. Tony Rapanisi, a social worker for our school district. Our translation services, as always, by our wonderful Executive Director for Multicultural Department, Belinda Reyes, and her staff. So at this time, I will invite everyone to please stand and Pastor Vince Manna to approach the podium and lead us in the invocation. Here? Yeah, I haven't met him. All right. You are.
I'll be glad to do it.
Thank you.
He'll bow your heads to me so we can pray. God, we come before you tonight. We're grateful that you show your love to us in so many ways, and we're grateful that you provided this opportunity for us to live in this wonderful country. We celebrate freedom and liberty, and we thank you for those that choose to serve on the front line every single day, both here in our homeland and abroad, to protect the freedoms that we have. We thank you for this great republic, and as we spend our time together this evening deliberating the issues of this school district, we ask for wisdom and discernment and guidance in all that we do. We ask for unity as we do the work of the citizens of this county. We ask your blessing upon our students as they endeavor back into school after this hurricane. We ask you to give them focus and clarity so that they might focus on the work that's ahead of them, so they can ultimately grow to be productive citizens here in our community. We charge all these things to you, and we thank you in advance that you are faithful and just to meet us at our place of need. It's in Christ's name that I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We may be seated. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Indeed.
My name is Belinda Reyes. I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Belinda Reyes y estoy aquí para proveer servicios de traducción.
Thank you. All right. Folks, at this time, we take a moment for board members and the superintendent to make a comment, a public comment. Today we'll begin from District 1.
Well,
Jay Wheeler, would you start us off?
Yes, first off, because he's here and I've done it before, I just wanted to point out that not every school gets a letter grade. The Zenith School got a commendable this past year, which was very good for them. And also, I need to really point out, though, all of you know, and some of you are still dealing with the after effects of going through Hurricane Irma. Our school district, we provided shelters. A lot of our schools didn't have power. Our school district staff, from the top down, leadership to everybody at the school level, to our maintenance, our facilities people, et cetera, pitched in, did a really good job, and we're grateful that our schools are open. Our children are back, our people are back to work, and our community did a terrific job, and not just our community, our first responders. I mean, there's so many people to thank, but God bless us all in Osceola County because we helped ourselves, we did well, pulling ourselves together, getting ourselves back where we are, and now I know that school's in session because my son was complaining about homework last night. So, but that's a good problem. So thank you everybody for what you've done, and I can't say how grateful I am and how humble I am to be able to lead and serve such terrific people in such a great community. Thank you all so much.
I don't think I could let it go by without saying thank you to the district staff for all the work they did during the hurricane. Preparation and then beyond that. I know the transportation, was there, and communications. I see Dana in the back. You guys did a fantastic job. All our folks, I know we have principals that have the certification for emergency shelter management, and those folks were in those shelters the whole time, so thank you to them. All the maintenance staff for getting out there quick and getting our schools fixed and ready to go on Monday, and just to all the school leaders and all the support staff that got everything done. Thank you very much. Our community made it through, and I think, and we shined, and proud to be a resident of Osceola County once again. Chairman?
Well stated. Gosh, I really cannot add anything to it, but I definitely want to express just how proud I feel about everyone in our school district, our community as a whole, but specifically, I want to go ahead and give this shout out to our school district personnel, leadership, and all the folks that worked in our schools, because it's the details that we don't talk about. We just see the results, and really, it's a lot of work and a lot of time and effort from a personal level that they put in, not just professionally, and I was very impressed and very proud to be a part of this.
I'll just echo what my prior three colleagues have said. I don't generally like to continue to repeat what was on and on, but this was pretty special, and the amount of work and effort that went on by superintendent on down, especially a lot of the people that were shelters nonstop, and the maintenance people who got the facilities back up and cleaned up and picked up. We all probably had problems in our own yards, so we can imagine what a task that was. So thank you all very much. Much appreciated.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Superintendent?
And Board, I would be remiss if I didn't add to those words, although I hate to just repeat the great things that you have said, but it truly takes a team, a community, to manage through these kinds of plans and preparations from our school level all the way up to the district level. It's taken everybody. Amazing work that our transportation folks, food services folks, maintenance, facilities, custodial, IT, finance, it really does take everybody. And at the school level, we had principals and assistant principals and teachers and custodians and everybody else involved who just really pitched in and did what we needed to do to help our community through a crisis. And we are very blessed that it wasn't any worse than it was, and very thankful yesterday to be in schools and seeing lots of happy faces of teachers and kids ready to be back in action and focused on learning. So my hat is off, and I couldn't be more proud of every single member of the team. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. All right. So, folks, at this time, we begin the presentation portion of our board meeting. The first presentation is going to be recognition of students that achieve perfect scores on 2 or more of the spring 2017 FSA assessments of English Language Arts, Mathematics, Biology 1, Algebra 1, Civics, U.S. History, Geometry EOC, Florida Statewide Science Assessment. In presenting these recognition, we have Dr. Respes, Dr. Reinhardt, and Mr. Allen. Take it from here.
Thank you, Chairman Soto and Board. We are so excited to be here with you tonight to recognize these students for their outstanding accomplishments. I also want to tell you that besides these 13, we had 211 children who will be recognized at their schools for getting a perfect score in one subject. So that is amazing as well. So we are here tonight for them to recognize the 2 subject perfect scores. And our first student could not be with us here tonight, but I really want to recognize him for his great work, and he can see it on video later. Indeed. So that's Aiden Day, and he's from Celebration K-8, and his perfect scores were in FSA Grade 5 Math and Grade 5 Science. So congratulations to Aiden. All right, our next student, and I want you to come up, all right, and we get love it, love it. I want you to come up and we'll give you your certificate, all right? And you get to shake hands up here. And that's going to be Keenan Lewis. And Keenan is from Chestnut Elementary School. He got perfect scores in the Grade 5 Math and Grade 5 Science. Keenan, congratulations. And our next student is Matthew Cardenas, and Matthew got perfect scores in Grade 5 Math and Grade 5 Science as well, and he is from Kissimmee Elementary School.
Yeah.
Turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Allen.
So next is Jorge Comas. He was a sixth grader at Narcousie Middle School, scored a perfect score in the English Language Arts and the FSA Grade 6 Mathematics exams. Next is Ricardo Cunha. As a seventh grader at Celebration K-8 School, scored a perfect score as a seventh grader on the Geometry EOC and the Civics EOC. Noah Jenkins, as a seventh grader at Neptune Middle School, scored a perfect score on the Algebra 1 EOC and the Civics EOC. Urvashi Jariwala, as a seventh grader at St. Cloud Middle School, scored a perfect score on the English Language Arts and the Civics EOC examinations. Next up is Jake Hanberry. As an eighth grader from Harmony Community School, Jake scored a perfect score on the English Language Arts, the FSA Algebra EOC, and the Civics EOC, 3 examinations. Joseph Moreira from Horizon Middle School, as an eighth grader, scored a perfect score on the Biology EOC and the Civics EOC. Emma De Leon, as an eighth grader at Narcousie Middle School, scored perfect scores on the English Language Arts exam and the Civics EOC. Next, we have Patrick Ramsey, also from Narcousie Middle School. As an eighth grader, scored a perfect score on the eighth grade science and the Civics EOC. I don't think Patrick is here with us this evening, but can we give him a round of applause? Next, we have Topacio Bergonzo. As an eighth grader at Renaissance Charter School at Point Siena, scored a perfect score in the English Language Arts and the FSA Grade 8 Mathematics.
And our last but not least recipient is Divya John. She's from Gateway High School. She scored a perfect score on the FSA Grade 10 English Language Arts exam and the U.S. History EOC.
Let's kind of slide in together, and if you turn to the side a little bit, not only does it make you look thinner, but we can also would like you to open up your certificate so we can see your name. If you please do that. We got to get tight. Let's get in tight, real tight. Tight, tight. Slide in, turn to your side.
Get closer to this young lady right here.
You got Bruce permission.
I want to get out of the
Dad, just want to get closer, get closer. Mr. Gilbert, your tie's now purple.
The Celebration Booster Club needs to get it.
No, the Booster Club.
All right.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Tell me about it.
They ran them.
And
Right. Congratulations to all of our students that done well, specifically for this group that scored perfect scores. I don't know, I once got a perfect score on a test. Been a long time. I don't remember which test it was.
Did you ever score a touchdown?
It wasn't the school board.
Okay.
It wasn't the school board competence.
No touchdowns, no base hits, none of that. But I did do fairly well in school, and I did score a perfect test once. Congratulations to all of our students and parents. Thank you. I know you're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. And for those that got one, still opportunity to get perfect on two. And the ones who got two, there's still opportunities to get perfect on three. Like to see some 4s and 5s, right? Our next presentation, folks, is a proclamation. Belinda Reyes, our Director of Multicultural Exam, will lead us in a presentation proclamation for the National Hispanic Heritage Month. Yes. You know what? We talk about good food, good music. Is that going to be all in there?
I'm going to try and keep it short.
All right.
Thank you, Superintendent Pace, Chairman Soto, board members, and leadership. The School District of Osceola County's strength comes from its tradition of academic achievement and its ability to foster relationships with all of its stakeholders. Out of our entire students population, 61% of our students identify themselves as Hispanic. To read the National Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation are Kevin Rosabal, who will read it in English, and Juan Diaz, who will read it in Spanish. Both are world language students working toward the seal of biliteracy at Gateway High School.
Welcome. I hereby proclaim good food for the rest of the month. Good music. No, I'm sorry. Hey,
Whereas the Hispanic community has a long and important history of commitment to our nation's core values, and whereas the numerous contributions of Hispanic Americans have helped shape our community and positively impact our nation, and whereas we applaud the accomplishments of Hispanic Americans, and now, therefore, the School Board of Osceola County, Florida, proclaims the month of September 15 through October 15, 2017 as National Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourages all citizens to recognize the important role of Hispanics in creating and building this great nation.
very well.
Considerando que la comunidad hispana tiene un largo e importante historial de compromiso con los valores fundamentales de nuestra nación, y considerando que las numerosas contribuciones de los hispanoamericanos han ayudado a moldear nuestra comunidad e impactado positivamente nuestra nación, y considerando que nosotros aplaudimos los logros de los hispanoamericanos, y ahora, por lo tanto, la Junta Escolar del Condado Osceola, Florida, proclama el mes de septiembre 15 a octubre 15 de 2017 como Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana, y exhorta a todos los ciudadanos a reconocer la función importante de los hispanos y a crear y desarrollar esta gran nación.
Moción.
¿Tenemos una moción?
Moción para aprobar.
Segunda.
Moción para aprobar por el señor Booth, segundo por el señor Tucker. ¿Hay alguna discusión, miembros? Escuchando que no hay, tomamos voto, todo de acuerdo, state aye.
Aye.
No de acuerdo, escuchando nada, la moción pasa 5-0. Yes.
That's the only part I knew. I had Google help me out on that.
You delivered it well. All right, so
Thank you, young man.
we have one more adoption of proclamation, Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, very important topic. Ms. Tony Rapanisi, did I am I pronouncing that correct?
Pronounced it perfectly. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Whereas Florida legislature has required Florida public school districts to select approved training materials for K through 12 instructional personnel in order for schools to be designated as suicide prevention certified schools, and whereas suicide is one of the most unsettling and tragic events a family and a community can experience, with 3,035 lives lost in Florida in 2016, and whereas suicide was the third leading cause of death in Florida among people from the ages of 10 to 24, and the ninth leading cause of death in Florida, and whereas public awareness of this problem is key to preventing further loss of life and can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment, and there is a higher risk for suicide among the survivors of those who die by suicide or those who have attempted suicide. And whereas Florida is a leader in the effort to prevent suicide, having developed a 4-year state plan that paves the way for reducing suicide deaths, and we respectfully request the School Board of Osceola County, Florida, extend their support in the observation of September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rapacini. You guys do a wonderful job over there. We appreciate
you.
all you do over there.
Thank
You know that.
We
Thank
really
you, Ms. Lane.
appreciate it. Thank you.
So there was a motion to adopt the proclamation by Mr. Weissier, second by Mr. Wheeler. Board, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Public comments. Any appointments or transfers, Madam Superintendent? Hearing none. Next item is open for public comment. I did not receive, normally what we have is a little yellow sheet where people will announce that they want to make a public comment. I don't have any. Is there anyone that wants to make a public comment? I'll give them an opportunity. Seeing that nobody does, we'll go on to the next item in our agenda, which is agenda modification. I'll start with District 1
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor.
Just wanted to make sure we touched on the calendar a bit. I know, do we need to add that to the agenda, or is it already on there? The school board calendar?
The school board calendar, I believe it's already on there.
It is?
Or
Okay,
it's-
then
or
I'm
We've
good.
already taken care of the dates. We did that through consensus last time.
Got it.
Yes, but I wanted to discuss, do we need to discuss the November 28th date? Possibly.
Oh.
So let me add that at the end then.
I apologize. I was misunderstood.
So it's not a modification. You just want to have discussion on it.
Yeah, talk about it under new business. I don't know if we
Okay.
necessarily need to add it.
All right, so it's not a modification. I don't have any. Mr. Thacker.
I have none.
No, sir.
Mr. Weissier.
No, sir.
Madam
Blue
Superintendent.
sheet agenda item?
Yes, sir. We do have a blue sheeted agenda item under Superintendent's recommendations to approve the memorandum of understanding regarding the STEM Demonstration Innovation Magnet School at Neo City.
So I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the new business as school board calendar and the blue sheeted item provided by the superintendent.
Second that.
Very well. We have a motion to approve the agenda with the blue sheeted item and the school calendar.
School board calendar.
School board calendar that's been added, second by Mr. Thacker. Board, any further discussion before we vote? Hearing none. Let's vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0. Okay, so that brings us to information agenda items. And our first one is going to be a demonstration of STEM High School by Dr. Reinhardt, Fritz, and Mr. Clinch. Good evening, sirs. Ma'am.
Well, good evening. I got to tell you, we do some really great things in education, but every once in a while, there's just something that is so cool that you get giddy about it, and that's where I'm at right now. I want to talk to you about the demonstration high school that we're working with in collaboration with the University of Central Florida, our county commissions, and our school district. This partnership to open this high school will take the role of a magnet school. We will take choice applications for students to attend, and we're looking at those high-performing students that have an interest in the STEM field. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the purpose of this. When you look at this school, I want you to think about the pipeline from our high schools to our post-secondary schools back to industry in our community. There are 3 STEM areas that we're really focusing in on. 1 being engineering, 2 being the engineering medical sciences, and 3 being cybersecurity, the technology piece. And what's really, really cool about this high school and the memorandum of understanding is you know that I came to you before and I spoke to you about our dual enrollment opportunities that we've had with Valencia. And you also remember that I brought to you a challenge that we did not have any dual enrollments with the University of Central Florida before. With this opportunity, with this demonstration high school, we will have students that will be able to dual enroll with the University of Central Florida. In addition to that, when these students come out and complete and graduate from this high school, they will actually be able to be admitted directly into University of Central Florida. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the collaboration with the University of Central Florida because this really has a 2-pronged approach. It's to train the educators at UCF, the future educators, about how to become good STEM educators. There's a lot of pedagogy in our business. And just because you are strong in content doesn't mean you have the pedagogy. And just because you have the pedagogy doesn't mean you have the content. So the collaboration between the School District of Osceola County and UCF is designed to do both and to benefit both. Those education measures will come to our high school and they will have an opportunity to learn from experienced educators about the pedagogy. Our educators in the School District of Osceola County will collaborate with the University of Central Florida to gain content knowledge in the area of STEM education. The other purpose that's so exciting about this is, I got to tell you, I love to think about our PASS and our OXA. We have some outstanding choice schools that are recognized around the state. Here's an opportunity for us to have a STEM high school that serves as an example and model for the rest of the state. This is actually my favorite slide because when you look at this slide, I want you to think of the pathway as our high school courses. And those are the 3 STEM areas that I talked about. And then I want you to look at the UCF options. Those are the majors that are offered at UCF. And then I want you to look at the industry, because those are the industries that our Central Florida community offers for our students. So not only are we taking our students as they come into our schools, educating them in high school, we're sending them to a localized university, and then they're coming back to us to work in STEM careers.
Just to give you a little idea of what the school will be like when it opens, we're hoping to open in August of 2018 with approximately 100 to 125 students, starting with the 9th grade students. We will provide transportation for the students with a hub system similar to what we have at PAS and OXA. And talking about the staff, obviously a smaller staff. We would have a principal, we would have a secretary. The bookkeeping would work with someone who could do bookkeeping probably and data entry, because they wouldn't have the amount of like internal accounts and programs like a regular high school would have, and a guidance counselor. We would have our core academic teachers, the language arts, the math, and the science, as well as our STEM teachers. So we will immediately start with a STEM program with the 9th grade students. And we would utilize the ability to have virtual classes for our PE and some of our social studies classes.
Excuse me, I got a question. Explain virtual PE.
We have, yes, it does happen every day. We have students that take physical fitness. They take Hope through the virtual classes. And it's actually a pretty rigorous, Mr. Shater and I have had this conversation, our children both did it, and it's a pretty rigorous fitness program.
Can I, too? I've had to answer that directly to the governor. Think of it more as a health program today. Unless you're out kicking a ball, it teaches you about taking care of your health, your body, and there is a physical
exactly right,
fitness
yes.
component.
Yeah, your own personal fitness as opposed to
For those
sports.
of us that are your age, it's hard to, that concept's hard.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time wrapping my brain around that one.
You ever seen those P90X commercials?
There you go.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Have you tried one of those, Jay? Yes. You have? How far could you get it? No, that's all right. I just didn't, I was going to challenge it.
The other aspect with the scheduling is it would be, we envision a block schedule so that the students would have time to work with the STEM programs and have enough time for those lab
So
situations.
they do virtual PE on campus?
They would probably do that on their own.
They don't take a virtual?
It's not on, yeah, but they, yeah.
So now we'll tell you about the facility that we envision for the demonstration STEM high school. This is a school that will be designed to provide an immersive learning environment while employing highly collaborative 21st century learning features. So it will be 500 student stations, 3-story, about 45,000 square feet, similar to the Point Siena High School classroom addition project that we completed this summer. That was 2 stories. This would be 3 stories. Administration suite, 6 offices, reception area, and conference room. No kitchen. We would be doing flex dining in collaboration with our school nutrition services department via a mobile food cantina. 5-acre greenfield site, no on-site retention. The county will pick up our retention as part of their master stormwater system. A high-performance building, solar-ready, to achieve zero energy. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. But first, let's look at the site. 5-acre site, directly adjacent to the Florida Advanced Manufacturing Center, Research Center. Right across the street, very nice site. Elevation 66, it's one of the higher portions of that site. So let me go back to the high-performance building to achieve zero energy. So what does this mean? The energy pyramid helps to illustrate the components that make up a high-performance and a zero-energy building. A high-performance building includes design strategies, energy efficiency, and energy conservation. Design strategies include a high emphasis on minimizing air infiltration, making the building envelope very tight. Passive design features that include building massing and site orientation, using building shapes and orientation to minimize energy use intensity. Daylighting and daylight harvesting. Energy efficiency, highly efficient HVAC, lighting, and controls. LED lighting, occupancy sensors, high-performance glazing, higher insulating R values, energy conservation, changes in use in behavior, reducing plug loads, turning off computers and monitors, getting building controls in sync with the actual building operation. Singularly, each of these strategies are very good. Collectively, when these strategies are combined, they work together in a synergistic way to have a profound effect on driving down energy use intensity. And then, a renewable energy source like solar is added to address the remaining energy use intensity, EUI. The EUI goal for this project will be 20 or less. The building will be, and in comparison, buildings built to today's energy code are about 55 in comparison to that 20. A zero energy building produces at least as much renewable energy as it uses in a year annually. A building that incorporates science, technology, engineering, and math, we believe this is the type of building that is perfect for the STEM high school. Let's look at some site plans.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So does this mean that staff will not be allowed to bring their own coffee makers, microwaves, and refrigerators?
Those type of things will be very closely monitored. Yes, sir.
And lamps and?
Yes.
Okay.
Comfort lighting will be very closely controlled. Thermal comfort
I mean,
as
this all
well.
sounds good, but then you get a couple of people bring their own coffee maker and it throws everything off.
And we're not saying that they can't drink coffee,
I do that.
but as long as every teacher doesn't have their own coffee maker, their own refrigerator, so that there is shared use for those appliances, and that those appliances be Energy Star as well.
Make sun tea.
So here is option A. And as you can see, we have phase one. That's the building that we're talking about, the 3-story, about 45,000 square feet. As Dr. Fritz mentioned, we have provided some choice schools in the past. OXA is the one that comes to mind for me. It originally opened with 500 student stations. Today, it's nearly 1,000 student stations. So we believe that the STEM high school will be just as big of a hit. So why not plan for it in the future? So we have a phase two for a second 3-story building.
So what's the date, what's the projected opening date of phase one?
For phase one, which is the 100 students,
Right, that's
and
what I
that's
was
the
right.
space
The
that we'll
first-
lease with the county, that's the 18-19 school
Right,
year,
but-
next
but-
school year.
So 19, August 19. the
This
first
would be for
45
1920
Okay.
to build this 3-story building.
Right, okay, thank you.
So in this site plan, the buildings face the road, Neo City Way. There is parking provided for the first phase and provisions for the second phase. There's a covered dining facility provided as well as a central energy plant, which is the building off to the right, to the left, excuse me.
Does zero energy mean it's going to be really hot in the summertime?
No, sir. It will have highly efficient HVAC, and in fact, the thermal comfort for this building will likely be better than your traditional building, and will still be hooked to the grid. Two-way meter, which means there will be times that we won't be producing enough of our own renewable energy to meet our needs. We'll be supplementing that off the grid. And then times we'll be producing power in excess of our needs, like on weekends, holidays, summer break. All that power will be going back on the grid in the form of a credit.
Where is it? Do you have a bigger picture that shows where this is in relation to the current building?
Other than this, no. It's right across the street from the Florida Advanced Manufacturing Research Center.
By the houses?
Yes, there is a site wall that runs to the south of the property, right there. That's the property limits.
Gotcha.
So we have a well-defined property boundary to our south. There's an existing retention pond here, which is for the Florida Advanced Manufacturing Research Center. They are currently in the process of extending that pond to add the east pond. There will also be a west pond, which is to the west of the property. Another option, B, is to skew the building angles about 45 degrees. What this does is it allows the buildings to point directly due north, so that the solar generation is directly due south. That's the most efficient for the solar generation. However, we could still do option A and skew the solar array at that 45-degree angle on the rooftop. There will be enough room on the building roof, about 15,000 square feet. We would be taking up probably half of that with the solar, estimated 660 panels. And also, we have the second phase, phase two, where we can add the parking. In this option, the parking would be to the front. These are simply lines on the paper. This can be whatever we want it to be. Finally, facilities next steps: to identify a solar partner, and I have been in discussions with KUA, negotiate a net metering agreement with KUA, and that's the two-way meter that we talked about. We pay about 11 cents a kilowatt hour, whereas in most net metering agreements, they pay 5 to 6 cents a kilowatt hour. we would need to get something to 8 to 9 cents per kilowatt hour for this to be palatable. Now, we would still be producing the same amount of energy. The energy production does not change. This is just the fiscal part of it to get the dollars to work.
Mr. Clinch, two
Yes,
things.
sir.
Number one, Gainesville Regional GRU in Gainesville, they've got a pretty aggressive program. I'd call and see what they've got, number one. Number two, Florida Municipal Power Association is right here in South Orlando, and you might want to call them because they manage all the 35 municipals, Jacksonville Electric,
Yes.
OUC, GRU, Lakeland, Leesburg. So I appreciate you're talking to KUA, but there's a lot more people to talk to.
We have formed a partnership with KUA, which includes FMPA, Florida Municipal Power Association.
There's a much more progressive partner than FMPA.
They are, and they have the ability to come up with creative solutions. I have been in discussions with Gainesville Regional Utilities,
Okay.
very similar to a KUA.
Right.
They're a regional utility, so they have a little bit more latitude on things they can do as compared to a utility that's regulated by the Public Service
Right,
Commission.
And they've actually done this.
Yes. They have, they installed solar on 10 of their schools with Alachua County schools, but the difference with that is that was a roof lease program where they were paying X amount of dollars per year for the use of those roofs. In this case, we would propose that the school district own that solar array and possibly enter into a PPA, that's a power purchase agreement, so that a private entity can purchase that array and then pass on those state and federal incentives back to the school district.
I would encourage you also, relative to the solar you're going to be using into this building, whatever water we're going to be heating, let's do some solar water heating too, so we're not paying the electricity on that too.
That's a great point. Everything is on the table. We're looking at cogeneration. There is natural gas available on the site. We're also looking at geothermal. So another next step is to commence due diligence for the site and for the technology components. As I mentioned, the geothermal, cogeneration, soil investigation, survey and platting. None of the properties, with the exception of the FAMRC facility, have been platted. So there is latitude to adjust that site accordingly to fit our needs. Continue to investigate high performance and zero energy building options to determine what the best option would be for our school district. And finally, finalize design professional and construction manager RFQs. The design professional RFQ is drafted, it's ready to go. And that completes our presentation, Superintendent.
Comments on this? Yes.
Awesome.
I got a question.
Mr. Wheeler.
This is for Dr. Reinhardt, Dr. Fritz. This might be too soon to ask, but I'd like to see what the entrance requirements are going to be for students to be accepted into this, if they got to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. I don't know what, but I'm sure, and I know you probably don't have that yet, but I'd be very curious.
They have to get one of those awards they got earlier.
One of the ones we wouldn't have gotten, Clarence.
We certainly are working on that right now, but I will tell you, we are looking at our higher performing students for this.
Sure. But you're
Type
going
of
to,
program.
some of those higher performing students, you're going to compete with IB programs also, PADS, School for the Arts, and then you get some of these higher performing kids who, they want to be cheerleaders or be in a marching band, or they want to be on the football team, et cetera. But I'm sure we'll fill this school with great kids. I have no doubt about it.
I do think if I may take the privilege of adding, Mr. Soto, this definitely is a smaller magnet niche type of a program. As I said to the principals today, it does not diminish one bit what we already have in our strategic plan that this board has already prioritized for STEM programs in all of our other schools, K-12 and actually pre-K to 12. And I don't think it's going to take away from those programs whatsoever. If anything, it will just enrich them by helping to support our teachers in best practices and learn from the work that's happening in this school. It's also not going to take away from Caliga High School and the STEAM focus that we have there, because they're going to have a football team. These are the kids who want to be in robotics instead of football or cheerleading or band or drama, and who truly want that smaller, specialized, academic focus in an inquiry-based program. I spoke with Mr. Curran today. One of the other things I really want to explore for this school is a 1-to-1 technology ratio. I think the academic curriculum should be more technology as opposed to textbook oriented here, and so we're going to be looking for some industry partners to help support some of these ideas. But I again see it as something that'll be a demonstration school, specialized, but I feel confident we'll have the interest.
Oh, this is incredibly exciting. I think this is, and the collaboration with UCF is terrific. Let's see if we can find a way for UCF to not just accept these students, but give everyone a scholarship who matriculates.
You know, Mr. Wheeler, if they want sports, we could put in a pool hall, inelastic collisions, things like that.
Domino's table.
Or dominoes, or chess.
Nice.
Dominoes, chess.
Domino's pizza?
Dominoes.
No, how about this? Curling.
Yes. I did curling before I came here today.
See, yeah, man, that's got some physical components.
Thank you.
Mr. Weishire, you had your light on.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, and I am excited about this. Mr. Clinch and I guess Superintendent, we're going to go through the same exercise as far as the facility design, naming, all of those type of things that we've done previously. And then we're going to talk about this agreement at a later point in the agenda, correct? Okay. Thank you. Mr. Clinch, have you heard anything else back from KUA from any of our conversations?
Not since the last conversation, no, sir.
I'll follow back up.
Thank
Mr. Thacker?
Dr. Pace, originally there was the conversations about having the companies involved that will be locating in Neo City, and nobody's kind of mentioned that. Is that still, I know Bridge personnel were excited about being involved to be able to work with the students and stuff too. Is that still the case?
Absolutely. I met yesterday with Bridge and IMAC to talk about what that partnership could potentially look like and really explore some opportunities for that to advance STEM across the district, but particularly in this school. We do see study periods and opportunities for them to work side by side with some of the researchers on some of their experiments. Obviously the IMAC engineers and researchers aren't going to teach our kids, but they're going to demonstrate for our kids and give our kids real life experiences in these fields to show them what's coming. And one of the things that I met with them yesterday about was specific academic programming to make sure that we're looking at what kinds of roles they want our folks to fill.
Indeed. Yes, this is the kind of project or plan that makes anyone who loves learning, in particular loves science, giddy, if that was the word that was used. I could tell you right now, I agree with Mr. Wheeler, there probably is going to be a lot of demand. What's most important is to have students that really want this. And even though it's STEM focused in engineering, it's not going to, ignore the civics component, the literature, the other things that high schoolers need to learn. And, to learn it in that environment is really something special. And so this is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to 2018. And if I was a student again, I'd be right there. This is the kind of stuff that a lot of people are waiting for. Not to say they're not getting it anywhere else, just more opportunity. You still have your light?
Yeah, just a comment to add on to that, and I will tell you a lot of the scientists at Bridge that I work with every day and the people that I talk to every day that are considering relocating companies here and moving scientists here and moving a lot of PhDs and engineers here, I will tell you they get extremely excited about a school like this that close for their children. It is a draw for them, and it's very important to them. And again, they don't know anything about the whole school district or anything else. Just the fact there's a school focused on this, I will tell you, was going to help people to live, to move, not only work here, but to live and move into this community. So.
Hey, indeed. Thank you very much. Ed Board, anything else to add?
I guess, is this something that just quickly that we could move down into the middle school grades or possibly even elementary grades?
We already have strong Project Lead the Way programs.
No, I meant out there at
that could be potentially
campus.
what we look to do as we move into a phase 2. For right now, we're going to work on the high school piece.
Yeah, sure.
But as Mark mentioned, one of the things that OXA did when it expanded, it started as a 912 school, but it expanded to the 612 type program. So that is something that we could definitely consider for phase 2.
Okay, great.
I got one last question, Mr. Chairman.
No, sorry.
Just when can we expect your ranking to approve for design professional for the board? So I want to know this is really moving.
We hope to go out with the RFQ within the next couple of weeks, which means we would have something to bring back to the board in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, by Thanksgiving.
We'll be looking forward to it.
That's terrific. Thank you all.
All right.
This is very exciting.
All right, so we'll go to the next presentation. Is Advanced Ed Accreditation Engagement Review. Mr. Peter Straker. Good afternoon, sir.
Chairman Soto, board members, superintendent, esteemed staff and guests. It's my pleasure to update you on a very exciting a few days in January 21st to 24th, which is the reaccreditation of the school district. We went to a district accreditation several years ago, and every 5 years, Advanced Ed changes their protocol to the way they do the the accreditation, and we usually catch it right at the very beginning, and we've done that again. We will be using a new protocol this year for our 5-year reaccreditation. But I just want to talk to you about why. No. Okay. Why does the district need accreditation? Well, it's our credits, our courses, our grade level graduations, our moving students through the grades. Schools and universities look for accredited organizations. They look for school districts which are accredited. Accreditation means that the diplomas and the certificates can go anywhere in the world. If somebody wanted to go to Oxford or Cambridge in the United Kingdom, which just comes to my mind, they would be able to do that. Okay. It ensures a consistent level of quality in a network of qualified, excited schools systems. This is something that we need why we need to be accredited. Students in accredited schools become part of a worldwide network. They'll be able to go anywhere in the world. What does Advanced Ed look for when they're looking to reaccredit a school district? And these are a few things they look for. And if you look at these and think to yourselves, are we this? I believe we are. We're a district that enhances the capacity of staff, a district that motivates and impacts students all levels of achievement, a district that communicates regularly to all stakeholders, a district that has the ability to effectively drive student performance and continuous improvement in education, a district that is dynamic and continually evolving with an unrelenting focus on students, and a district that operates as learning communities, demonstrating a positive culture throughout the district. I believe Osceola School District is that district, is all those things. To get to the engagement, what happens is a team of 10 people from Advanced Ed will come on January 21st, which is a Sunday, and there'll be a 10-member team with a lead evaluator, and the lead evaluator is Dr. Angie Kupang. She's the Vice President of Advanced Ed, and she's the lady who has actually spearheaded the new protocols. She only does one visit a year, and she picked Osceola School District to do that visit. So we're going to have a wealth of experience coming for the engagement review. Ex-superintendents, assistant superintendents, consultants. There's a vast array of people who come, and a vast array of experience. On the Sunday night, what they do usually is they have a work session, and they will meet with the superintendent, and the superintendent will also give an overview presentation of the school district of Osceola. They will then interview the superintendent. On the Monday, they'll come to, the 10 of them will be transported from their hotel, and they'll come to the district. And they will receive a 1 to 2 hour presentation from our district Advanced Ed Accreditation Leadership Team, which there is 29 people, staff members on that team. They will present how we went through the continuous improvement process and where we was to where we are now. They'll also interview several groups of people. They'll interview the district leadership team, either in groups or individually. They'll also interview the school board individually, and that later on I'll be scheduling with the school board when she wants to, the lead evaluator wants to do that. But it will be on the
22nd. It'll be on the 22nd.
On the 22nd, sometime on the 22nd, yeah. But I'll make sure that you guys get that, and so if hopefully you're available. There will be individual interviews. They'll also talk to the principals who are not being visited, and also they'll be talking to parents and community members. And most of those will be individual interviews. Some, like the principals, because there's so many, they will most probably have a group session and also individual. That is a change from years past where they used to just do group sessions. Now they've gone to an individual type session, and they'll be asking the same questions to everybody. Okay, on the Monday afternoon, they're going to send maybe 2 teams to schools to actually do observations within the school, and also to talk to the principal, the leadership team, students and teachers. Mostly they'll be in the classroom. Those are announced visits. We will know which schools they're actually going to on that Monday afternoon. They'll then go back to their hotel, and they'll work the evening. These people work till 10 or 11 o'clock at night each night. They don't, they're coming to Disney or Disney area, but they will be in the hotel working. On Tuesday, they will be going out to the schools. They'll leave the hotel and they'll be visiting schools. They usually go in pairs of 2, and they'll visit one school in the morning, one school in the afternoon. These are unannounced visits. That means we'll only find out what schools they're going to actually visit, most probably on the Friday or the Saturday before they actually arrive. So this is another change. Usually you get the selected schools well in advance. They've changed that policy, and now they're going to do unannounced visits. Also, on the Wednesday, they'll do the engagement review session at the district. They'll go through their policies, their procedures they have to do within their workroom, and then they'll ask for additional information if they need it. There's a change, which usually what's happened in the past is we have a school board meeting and they'll do an exit report. That has changed in the new protocol. In the new protocol, they will just meet with the superintendent and their senior management leadership team, and they'll do a brief there. There will not be any school board meeting to say yes, we're going to be accredited, which is a complete change. The schools at the moment and the district are working very hard to prepare all the documentation. Like I said, it's a new protocol. We only started this in August. This is a year-long preparation. Usually we have got 3 months to get our paperwork in. We're at the moment serving all the schools. We've got over 64,000 surveys completed so far. So everybody's working really well, and we have to have all final documentation in on December 18th. So that's the conclusion of my presentation. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Any questions, discussion, anything at all?
I'll get you down for 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday the 22nd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next presentation is the Center for Employee Health and Life Insurance Trust Monthly Meeting by Mr. Ken DeBoer. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Just briefly bring to your attention on the center update, we're at $931,000 in costs avoided by our employees that are using the center. We continue to see high utilization of that facility, and we have the monthly survey responses as well. The monthly expenditure report that we have, we did see a slight reduction in the total cost for the program, which is a good thing. As I've mentioned to you last month, normally we do see a spike in utilization and costs over the summer months, but we did see a slight drop in the month of July. So that's a good thing for us. Since I had a couple of minutes, I just wanted to briefly go through that, but I did want to bring something to your attention that hopefully that you've seen the email that came out today as a reminder, but we have a program that we're starting, or a challenge that's being started here the end of this week. It's a Back to School Slim Down Challenge. It's a weight loss program that we're striving to have at least 50 participants enrolled from our school district. Right now we're at 31, and so we're excited about that. What that 50 does is it's a program, a weight loss program that challenges school districts across the United States, and they compete against each other basically. And then you also compete within your own school district. If we're able to get the 50 participants, we'll have a local winner that team of 5 will receive a $1,500 prize. If the national winner wins a $10,000 prize. So there is advantage or a definite incentive to participate and to.
Does that money go to the individual or the school district?
The money will go to the individuals that participate in the program. So if one of our 5-member teams were to win the national program, the $10,000, those 5 would share that $10,000. Or if we get the 50 participants, the 5 that are in that winning team would share the $1,500. There is a cost associated with this program. If after the course, after you finish the program, and if you're able to keep the weight off for 9 months afterwards, you're actually eligible to receive your $70 participation fee and a refund of that money as well. So it's an interesting program. We're excited about it, and would love, if you're not interested, if you want to share the flyer with someone you know, or it can be in the district or family members that want to participate and that kind of thing. So
Board, you in?
I do believe I knew of 2 board members who were considering some kind of a challenge.
We're in. Speak for all of us.
This makes it real, though.
This board's never been this quiet.
Not.
Tim, how much can you afford to lose, though?
P90X over here, man.
I've got another 3.5 pounds I could probably lose.
I can give you that tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, what exactly does it mean to be in? Like, what do you have to do?
When does it start? After football season's over?
Friday.
It does run through the week of Thanksgiving, Mr. Booth.
What if
Ends December 15th. Let's do it.
Tanya, you can't beat us.
I'm thinking to stop.
You have one.
She can't lose no way.
But if
Tanya
you
has to clean out
if you're
that
interested,
one drawer in her office if we do this.
If you're interested in participating,
Leave my Pringles out
and you
of
don't
this.
have 5 people or 4 other people that want to join you, when you go in to sign up, they will actually be people out there that are looking for other team members. So you can join their team, or they will pull teams together. Well, I'm just saying, if there happen to be not 5 people that want to participate, but so there are ways.
Once we sign up, we have to go do a weigh-in, I would imagine.
Yes, sir. The weigh-in can be done at the Center for Employee Health, and it's encouraged to be done as early as possible, as close to the 22nd, but all the teams have to be in place and weighed in by October 6th, I believe is the date. So. And cheerleader.
Huh? 10%?
Tanya.
I'm not going to tell you what mine is.
You got a form? Sign me.
For the record, I have a form.
Register, you can register me. Will the rest of the board register with me? Tanya can
I
register.
lied on that form, by the way.
Tanya, you can register me. I'm good with that.
I'll create your team.
Okay, and Dr. Pace, do you have an administrative team?
Oh, boy.
Doesn't need to lose I didn't say, I said you have an administrative team.
I do not, but I have a team participating in the Rotary Celebration 5K and 10K at the end of October.
And you also, and.
If I do the 10K, I will definitely lose the weight, because I'll just.
So you're putting your team together for this, is that correct?
Enough for you to
Ken and I already have a team.
We have the finance department has a leadership team.
Does the curriculum department have a team?
We don't need to lose any weight.
There you go. Hey, Scott, did I hear something? I must have heard something wrong.
Okay.
So let me get this right.
Clinch, does facilities have a
So
team?
it goes for 12 weeks or 9 months? I see 9 months. on
After the 9 months, if you maintain the weight that you lost after 9 months, then you're eligible to get your money back that
Avian
you.
and celery, Avian and celery.
I got to do something.
Let me guilt you into this, man.
Thank you.
No, but then it makes it real, and I have to do it.
Don't make them guilt you.
No, let's do it. School board
Do it
team.
too, Kelvin.
School board team, Kelvin.
Man.
Come on, man.
Kelvin?
Let's do it.
I lost
My
10% of my
weight
body
reminds me
weight.
of my stress.
I've been in the hospital.
Tim, is your back okay?
It's like a good
you
friend
got
goes with me.
My back's good, man.
Okay, good.
All right, so board, that's it for information agenda items. And that brings us to our regular.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion under Roman numeral 7 to approve items A through D as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Booth to approve.
Hold on a second, please. Get back.
Yeah, we were still figuring out how we're going to eat chicken wings and accomplish this thing.
Put that for new business.
There's lots of Fridays and Saturdays during this time. Football season, Thanksgiving.
Yes.
You do your weigh in October 6th.
So, and the motion is to approve items A through D on the curriculum and instruction. Board, is there any discussion in any of these items? No?
No.
Since there's none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, under Roman numeral 10, I'll make a motion to approve items E through H as submitted.
Would you mind, excuse me, polling F and G, or
I will amend my motion to approve items E and H as submitted.
nobody second that, so I'll second it.
Okay.
Very well. Under Human Resources, a motion by Mr. Wheeler to approve E and H as submitted.
Correct.
Second by Mr. Thacker. Is there any discussion on E and H, board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye. I'll make
Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0.
a motion to approve items F and G under Human Resources.
Second.
Motion
I'm
to
okay with some discussion.
Yeah. Motion to approve F and G by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Wheeler. Discussion by Mr. Thacker.
Question on the first one, the athletic, I'm pretty sure I understand, but just want to be sure. This is a full-time person currently, it's just getting a stipend, right, or supplement, is that?
Correct. It is a part of the supplemental pay schedule negotiated in our instructional contract with OCEA. And basically what we're doing here is just revising and making very clear what the job responsibilities would be.
Okay, so there's already one of these people.
We have not had this supplement in the past. This would be an additional position for schools who feel like they need it.
Okay, and we are going to have these people, I see in their job description somewhere, which I can't find right now, but I saw it earlier. They are going to help get some of this intramural stuff off the ground.
Correct. That is the support for our middle school and high school intramural programs.
And I am 100% behind this then.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, since we did them together, can you just, I read the thing, but I don't, what is the, we got the Central Florida Education Ecosystem Data. We're just going to work with these neighboring counties on data? Is that what this is? Tell me what this is.
This is a collaboration that really started from Dr. Schugert's fundamental concept about really tracking data to see what it is that identifies kids who are more successful as opposed to less successful in his program at Valencia College from a very early age. So it's a partnership that would be grant funded totally through the Helios Foundation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robert and Scott. with Orange County Public Schools, the School District of Osceola County, and the Valencia College system. And it's a matter of sharing data, processing data, and really doing some longitudinal analysis to help us figure out what are those markers in even third grade or eighth grade or 10th grade that are helping to identify students who are set up for success, because then that would then potentially give us some pressure points to apply to help more children reach that level of success. It's a long-term position. It's a long-term project. If the grant is not fully funded, this position will not be funded, as well as item G that you just approved. They are completely grant funded for the course of the 3-year grant project, and then we'll decide where we go from there.
So we would reevaluate if the grants aren't there, if they're working, right?
Absolutely correct.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, vote passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items L through N under Roman numeral 11 as submitted.
Second.
All right, the motion to approve L through N by Mr. Wheeler, second by Mr. Thacker. To approve, any discussion?
Just a clarification, the blue sheet's going under facilities?
No, the blue sheet is going under superintendent's recommendation.
All right, I'm fine.
That's my Roman numerals, but I believe it's 15.
All right, then. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0.
Make a motion to approve item O.
Second.
Motion to approve O by Mr. Thacker, second by Mr. Wheeler. Any discussion? Hearing none, we take a vote. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve items P and Q under facilities.
Second.
Motion to approve P and Q by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Thacker. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, vote. Board, we vote. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Hearing none opposed, vote passes 5-0. And brings us to school operations. Mr. Shutera, any? Very well, sir. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. As you see before you, you have the blue sheeted item that we have been referencing to approve the memorandum of understanding regarding the STEM demonstration and Innovation Magnet School at Neo City. It is basically between both the county, UCF, and Bridge, as well as the school district. There is a piece that I wanted to make sure that all the board members were aware. It is something that Mr. Kreppenbacher has discussed with Chairman Soto, but I also wanted to make all of you aware. If you look at number 2C, there is reference to a 5-acre site that would satisfy the county's debt obligation to SDOC for the conveyance of the Beaumont property. When the original transfer was made between the school board and the county of the Beaumont facility, the old Beaumont Middle School property, there was a clause written in that said if the property were to later be sold, there would be potentially a 10% portion of that would come back to the school district. The county has recently agreed to sell the Beaumont property or transfer the Beaumont property for about $4 million to the city of Kissimmee as a part of the city of Kissimmee's redevelopment efforts in that community. Rather than have the county provide us the $400,000, they have agreed to provide the 5-acre site with retention, adequate parking, as well as the lease agreement for the office space in year 1 of the demonstration high school, and they've provided for us to be a part of that build-out process so that when the office space is being designed and built, we will have what we need to operate within the first year of the school. I'll tell you, our school schedule is very aggressive. I was a little nervous when I was on site yesterday and they haven't even started turning dirt on the office building. But I had assurances again from Mr. Fisher and ZHA, who works with the school district and with the county on the Neo City site, has been communicating with us, helping with site selection, and we're actually going to have a facilities in-house planning meeting tomorrow to then really start the conversation aggressively with ZHA, Schinkel, Schultz, and Skankska, who are responsible for that office space. But I wanted to make sure that we're not trying to hide anything. This is there, but we felt like that was more than fair in terms of how we're moving forward here. But that's up to the board to decide.
And if the deal is not consummated, we have a 90-day window to work out any particular deals that accommodate the site and the construction, et cetera. That $400,000 doesn't go to them. It then comes back to us. So this memorandum of understanding is intended to move us forward, get everybody to sit down, work out any details, and close the whole matter up so we get everything moved down the road. If it doesn't work out, the money stays and comes back to the school.
Is this
Motion to approve.
Second with discussion. I haven't read through this, it's just got handed to me. So is the clause relative to a $400,000 option, which is essentially what this is it in here? That
Yes.
Okay, so that language
Yes.
is in there.
Yes, it is. In the
Two,
email is
item 2C.
2C.
In the actual MOU, Jay.
It says the 5-acre site will satisfy the county's debt obligation to STOC for the conveyance of the Beaumont property. That's 2C, but I don't see anything in it that says if we don't move forward.
Oh, there's a whole paragraph about that. This is not binding anything on it unless the parties reach a total agreement.
Can you point that paragraph
Yeah.
out to me?
Item 11.
Right here, I wrote it.
Okay, good, I'm glad you wrote it. Okay. Okay, I'm good with this, okay. Okay, I'm good. I know the discussion. It's great, I'm very, very excited. Thank you.
Discussion by Mr. Weissier.
Just because I don't know, does anybody know what the original deal with the Beaumont site was? Like, what did we swap it for?
That happened before you got it.
I went through the deed. I mean, that's the only document that got presented to me. And the deed basically was, we were giving them the property with this provision that said if they sold it down the road, 10% of it had to come back to us. It didn't indicate any kind of an exchange of properties as part of that deal.
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm certain, but of course it's my opinion, but I'm certain we did some type of a land swap for, we wouldn't have given up that 20-some-odd acre site.
And I apologize, I don't know right off the
No,
top of my head.
I don't-
And Rhonda is not here this evening. She's the one who found the actual 10% clause. Even the county had not realized that it existed.
And-
But I can certainly get that information to the board.
And just so the board's aware, this site's worth well more than $4 million. I can tell you
How's that?
Oh, I can guarantee you it's worth more than $4 million.
Yep.
It's 23 acres sitting right in the heart of Kissimmee, right on MLK. It's
Right by where those buildings, those county
right
buildings are.
across from Tampa Water.
Where Beaumont High School used to be.
Those are the
Yeah.
Where
county
Beaumont
buildings.
Middle Schools are.
Those are the county buildings. That's the exact
My mom
site.
taught there for a long
That's the
time.
exact site. Where those county buildings are, that's the site.
Yeah.
Yeah, $4 million seems kind of like.
Well, we just had another property appraised for 1.9 that's a tenth of the size of that property, and we're working on another transaction very nearby for 3.4 that's a fifth of the size.
Do we know any of the, do we need to know any of the details of the transaction between the county and the?
No, I'm just making you guys aware.
My understanding is that really the heart of that was to support and help with the redevelopment efforts in
It is.
Kissimmee. And that's a part of
So
kind
the
of
city-
the agreement
so
that
the
we've
city
had
is-
and working together.
The city's the purchaser.
Yes.
Yes.
Going to give them incentive.
That's why.
Oh, I
Space
know.
to get the right people.
That
Oh,
would
yeah, it's
explain
not,
the
it's
sweet
not
deal.
arm's length, I get it. I mean, I'm just letting you know that
I would tell you in the
The
future,
10%
if you
provision.
exchange property and you put in a provision like this in the future, you put in that it's got to be sold at market value unless you waive it.
Right.
So if you want to contribute to something,
Right.
great, but if you don't, they can't cut a deal with anybody.
Well, that's why I bring up the original transfer with, I was certainly not here. I was probably still going to Beaumont when that happened. And number two, the fact that, you know, it's $400,000. I'm fine with the mechanics of this, but I'm just letting you know that, you know, somewhere along the way, I'm not convinced that a prior school board made maybe the best decision about how to structure all that, so.
But in your opinion, is $400,000 a good bargain? I mean.
Oh, for what we're getting at Neo City, it's great. It fits within what we're doing. I don't have any problem with the 400,000 and what we're doing now. We can't fix whatever was done before. I'm just making.
Yeah, but we could still, but, yeah, we could still, yeah, okay.
No, we don't have any negotiation power on this. All right, I can just tell you that. I think the superintendent reached a real good agreement with the county manager and the parties involved.
All right, so any further discussion, board? All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Booth, a second by Mr. Wheeler, to approve the blue sheeted item, memorandum of understanding regarding STEM demonstration innovation magnet school at Neo City. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, the vote passes 5-0. Bring us down to attorney's report, legal issues.
Yes, I had the board clerk send you a lawsuit that I pulled up yesterday involving the best and brightest in which the Florida State Department of Education, all school districts, Florida Virtual, and anybody else who implemented what state passes best and brightest, DOE implements best and brightest, everybody effectively follows what DOE says you're to do. There's now a class action filed by the teachers union and some individuals alleging race discrimination, black, race discrimination, Hispanic, age discrimination, some civil rights claims that are tied up into that. There's a lawyer in Tallahassee has got about 18 districts, so I would tell you that I'd like to have at our next meeting in the case CV 00414RHCAS in the Northern District of Tallahassee, a very quick executive session. It was filed by the teachers union, FEA.
An executive session for what?
To go over that lawsuit with you. We haven't been served yet, but to talk about what I think is the very cost-efficient strategy to deal with that case.
All right, and you want that for the next board meeting?
For the next meeting, please.
All right.
I also, Mr. Chairman, have a case in which I'll call each of you about. We have a proposed settlement that talk to each about on the phone and then go forward from there.
Very well, Mr. Kumbach. All right, thank you. Just briefly, you did send that complaint to all of us to read on the email. I did have a chance to read it. Of course, I'm an attorney, so I analyze things as an attorney would on this case. And I'll just say this: I'll encourage the board to read that complaint. It's pretty straightforward, but this is a good example about how something that doesn't really make a lot of sense in trying to accomplish something, taking the wrong way of doing it, can end up, discriminatory. It's a very interesting case. I think that I'm going to be interested in seeing how it develops, the discovery process and things like that. And so I look forward for your report on this in our executive session. All right, so that's it for that. Superintendent's update.
Just very quickly, sir, I would be remiss if I didn't point out our Director of Security, Lester Yates, and the role that he played in the hurricane. He probably didn't sleep from Thursday to like Tuesday. I mean, none of us slept a lot, but he was 24/7 in touch with the EOC. Our staff there, Jason and Linda, were great, but he was out and about checking on shelters from just Thursday to like last Wednesday, Thursday, when it really closed down. So I want to say I sincerely appreciate Lester and the work that he did there in terms of keeping me informed, so I was able to keep the board informed and also make good decisions about what we had to do with that. I will tell you that during the course of this meeting, I have received an email from the commissioner about the instructional time that was lost and what we will be required to make up. And she has agreed that under her authority, she can waive up to 2 days. So we will be bringing forward a calendar revision. I think that will require us to potentially make up about 2 days, and I have some really good suggestions there that will be nice, clean calendar changes. I think I'll go over those with each of you individually, but I think that by October 3rd, we'll be able to reach resolution on our calendar for the end of the school year, make up the instructional time that we needed, but also make sure that we respect our staff and the planning and professional development that we have planned. So I'll make sure that that's on the agenda for you.
Thank you, Superintendent. And I just want to speak on behalf of this board and appreciation specifically to Mr. Lester Yates for what he did. Thank you very much, sir. I don't think we have unfinished business, but I think I'm going to go since this is not a new topic. On Friday we have the legislative delegation. I'm not going to be able to make it. I wonder if there was a board member who wanted to volunteer to go ahead and present that to the delegation that day? Like, maybe...
I'm not going to be able to make it, Mr. Chairman.
No, and my wife's got surgery that day, so Tim, you're the guy.
Yeah, I'm looking at my schedule. What time is it? Is it lunchtime?
It starts at 9, and then there's a lunch that follows.
Lunch after, it's all morning.
Yeah.
Can we arrange...
Or 4th, I didn't have a chance to look at that today.
Is there...
a way to get notified of this stuff a little quicker? Did I just...
No, we've been talking about this.
I mean, I can be there from like 9 till 10:30.
Is there any
Tim,
I got it.
Is the schedule already like set, like who's going to come? Do you know where the school board is in the middle?
fourth on the agenda.
All right,
The
so-
agenda just came out today, Board, and I apologize. I've been in, it happened over the course of this stuff, so I haven't had a chance to send it to you. I will get it to you tomorrow.
Fourth on the agenda, that could be 11 o'clock.
All right, so Mr. Weiser will go ahead.
No, it'll be earlier.
That'll work.
All right, we all appreciate that.
It's when
Mr.
you're
Weiser.
30th on the
We-
agenda that it's noon.
All right.
Fourth is good. Fourth is good.
All right. New,
I'm going to be there.
for, okay, so we're now down to new business. Mr. Booth, you had school calendar.
I just wanted to bring up the point. I know we just got the email from FSBA and from Tanya today about the conference, the winter conference in Tampa. It starts the 28th and goes to the 1st. So I don't know if we wanted to move or cancel or move our 28th school board date.
The FSBA part of it is the 29th to the 1st,
Yeah, you
but
can
all
start that.
chairs and vice chairs are required to be there on the 28th. So 2 of you would have to be there on the 28th.
Well, you're not required.
Encouraged.
They want you to be.
Encouraged.
The email said that
It's FSBA, they can't require anything.
FSBA can't require anything.
All right.
Our only dilemma from a staff standpoint would probably be the facilities workshop. We had decided to schedule it on the 28th as opposed to the 14th because of the board reorganization on the 14th. We're going to have a lot of facilities projects cranking
I'm
up
fine
that you
if we
guys are
don't
going to
wanna do it.
want. So if you guys want to cancel the meeting on the 28th, I'm absolutely fine with that, but I would recommend that we go ahead and have at least an hour to talk about facilities on the 14th.
I'm fine with that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's
Especially
awesome.
that time of year is a busy time of year.
And I've got a request also. Could somebody check with Orange County? Orange County, there's ethics training as part of the FSBA council.
We did it last year.
Right, but we did it in Orange County. Can we
They're
find out?
doing it again, I was told.
Are they?
Well, they told me that.
I haven't heard.
somebody
What's
told
the
me that a
date?
little
That's
while
why I'm looking for
ago.
that
I'm
date.
gonna ping Woody and see if he can do it.
If Dr. Pace or Tanya, if you could check with Orange County, see if they're gonna offer that, or Mr. Kruppenbach, or call Woody, and just get us what that date is, because I can't make the December 1st one. Orange County usually does
Jay,
it.
everybody believes you're.
Jay, you know that
Don't
you
meet
could do
the
this
chair.
online, right? This ethics training, you could do it online
No, I didn't.
from the
know.
comfort from your own home. Yes, yes, and
I forwarded you the email where I already registered.
Send it again to me,
all right.
please.
I've already,
Do it online.
I already got the email with how to log in and do the whole
Kelly,
thing.
you are much more technically savvy than I will ever
Have until
I just thought that
December
this
31st.
information could.
be. No, you're right, that's great information, I didn't know.
So we're going to cancel the 28th meeting?
We're gonna
We'll
cancel
add
the
an hour on the
28th
14th.
But keep in mind, on 11/14, that night, we will have 5 different workshops, public hearings, meetings.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes.
5. We're gonna have a couple workshops, a couple public hearings, and the regular meeting,
That's fine.
which includes the reorganization of the board.
That's great.
Okay.
So I'll go, I leave on the 15th, so I'm good the 14th as late as you need me.
Mr. Chairman.
I guess that's fine.
Let's keep it real.
I don't hear anybody here.
Mr. Kruppenbach.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to remind the board members, that's an annual calendar commitment, so that training's got to occur
Right.
for each of you by the last day
Yes.
in December.
Correct. Yep.
Very well. Duly noted, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to register if you want.
If we don't get the deal done in Orange County like we did last year, I'll just do it on the Friday of the school board deal.
I'll probably do it online. Well, I want to find out what Orange County has theirs, otherwise.
Are you talking about the online thing? They're still going to offer it on the Friday morning at FSBA, right?
Correct.
I can just do it there if we don't do the thing in Orange County. Motion to adjourn?
Nope, one more thing.
Right.
Board member comments, I'm going to make one real quick, and then Mr. Thacker. Mine was that on the zero energy design, I watched the video. That was extremely interesting. I shared it with some other folks. Is that realistic for what you have planned, what the district has planned for this new high
Yes,
school?
very realistic.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Then, if you haven't seen the video, fellow board members, please watch that video. It's not like anything you would have expected. And it's looking forward to seeing how that's going to work out here. It's incredible.
Yes.
Mr. Thacker, you have the rest of the time, man. You're the last one.
It's going to be very
Okay.
quick. Lester, since I'm going to let you off the hook here, since Deborah said you haven't slept in 2.5 months. I just didn't want to lose track. We talked to you the last meeting, the meeting before, about the resource officers to check in schools. I know you probably haven't had time to mess with it. I just don't want to lose it.
What we were going to do is get with Mr. Phelps and do one of the surveys to go out to every one of the principals and the assistant principals about that. That way, it's not forgot about.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't want to lose. All right.
Was that at the last board meeting?
Yes.
What is it? I'll talk to you tomorrow. That's fine.
Maria's not coming, so.
Doesn't matter.
It's not secret.
We hope not.
No. All right. So, with that said, board, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yes, they probably.
We are adjourned. Thank you.